Bienvenido. Today is Wednesday. You're in Metamorphosis Rocks. My name is Roxana, and it's supposed to be, well, it is Rant Wednesday. And I understand that I've talked about this topic a couple times already, but yes, we're going to talk about Puerto Rico again. And there's several reasons why I'm going to talk about Puerto Rico today. Most important reason is because it's been over 20 days since the hurricane happened, and I'm still seeing a lot on my feed about the horrible conditions in my island, and I have a few things to say. Now, I don't care if you're on the left, if you're on the right, if you're Puerto Rican, if you're not, if you believe Puerto Ricans are American citizens, so you're still on the cloud on that one, and you don't know your own history. I'll repeat the years you have to search: 1898, 1917, 1952. I don't care what you think, what you believe, what your political standing is. We're going to talk human to human. So I'm hoping that you're human enough. And if you are a human, you have feelings and you understand that people are dying. Now, I don't care if you think that the mayor of San Juan was doing it for political reasons or if she was just being melodramatic, like many Puerto Ricans, because that is one of those generalizations that I get a lot, and I don't care. I am melodramatic, and I don't care. She was saying people are dying, and everybody laughed in her face, and now we have at least two cases that we know of people dying from something called leptospirosis. I don't even know how to say it. But basically what happens is people are drinking water that is contaminated and they're dying. The governor actually admitted there's 10 cases of it. Two people are dead. One of them, I just saw the funeral of this man who is 61 years old. 61. I don't know about you, but I'm 50. So to me, 61 is pretty young still. This man was in perfect health, got sick. They sent him home. He went to the doctor and they told him it was dengue, which is very common in Puerto Rico. And it should be an issue in the next couple of weeks because of all the water. And he went home, started feeling even worse, went back to the hospital. 24 hours later, he was dead. The the organization FEMA, the government arm that handles emergencies but has never been able to handle an emergency, um, in their title, the words E and M stand for emergency management. And I have yet to see these people handle one single emergency properly. But anyway, they decided to announce on a chart on Sunday, I think it was, all the advances they had done in Puerto Rico, including the fact that 54% of the population have potable water. Now, I thought potable in Spanish, potable, was a Hispanic word. I didn't know it was an American word. But anyway, the bottom line is this. When you tell me I have potable water, that means I can open the faucet and drink out of the damn faucet. That's not the case. They then decided to send an announcement that you have to boil water. Well, if 88% of the population didn't have electricity, how were they supposed to boil water? That's one. Number two, and more importantly, if you're boasting that you have 54% of the population with potable water, why do they have to boil it to begin with? And number three, and more importantly, why are people getting a disease that you're supposed to be able to handle because you gave them potable water? See where I'm going with this? Okay, now, because that's not bad enough, let's go look at another aspect. Apparently, FEMA decided to go to say that they were not reaching certain towns because the roads were damaged and there was a lot of debris and blah blah blah, and they have a point. It's not their job to clear the roads. I understand that. However, when every celebrity on the planet and then MSNBC can take a car and drive through a town that they said they were not in, I got a little suspicious. Oddly enough, last night on their Twitter feed, they published a video that they have here on YouTube where they drove to Barranquitas. Now, for those of you who've never been to Puerto Rico, Barranquitas is the next town over from Ay Bonito. So tell me exactly how you got to Barranquitas, but you can't cross over to Ay Bonito, because that makes no sense. But let's leave it there. The bottom line is that MSNBC took a crew and they went through roads that were perfectly cleaned up and in perfect condition and got to Ay Bonito. yet FEMA cannot get there. So what does FEMA decide to do? FEMA decides that they're going to say that it is not their job to provide water and food to people. Now, that may very well be true. The problem with that theory is that they were boasting that here in Florida, in a town called Lakeland, they provided water and food for I don't know how many people. So you have to make up your mind what your message is going to be. Now, I'm not a fan of any government entity just because they have so much red tape and so much baloney to do. But in the case of FEMA specifically, I don't understand the red tape because, again, your name literally includes the words E for emergency and M for management. So why are you not managing emergencies? And people are telling me, well, they've never dealt with an emergency of this magnitude. I'm sorry, did they not handle Katrina or Harvey or Irma here in Florida? Please don't lie to me. At this point, they've had more than 100 hurricanes in the country and in Puerto Rico. They should know how to handle emergencies by now. And if they don't, then they all should be fired, and you should hire people that know how to handle emergencies. That's all I'm saying about that. Now, going back to the conditions in Puerto Rico. I have talked about this before. I'm going to talk about this again until you all get it through your heads. And if I have to make another video explaining this again, I will. Puerto Ricans pay taxes. So that's not why they don't want to be a state. Puerto Ricans, from my paycheck when I was getting paid in Puerto Rico, and this is still true today, you pay for Medicare, you pay for Social Security, and when you own a home, you pay for FEMA. The insurance is included, okay? Now, what you have to understand is that in Puerto Rico, as opposed to here in the United States, we don't have apartment complexes. You can't go, if you go to a complex that's full of apartments, those are condos. And if you rent a property from there, you rent it from a person or a business that bought that property and then decided to rent it. But there is no such thing as an apartment complex like we have here in the United States. What I'm trying to tell you is that because you're renting for a particular, chances are that part of your rent money is going for FEMA. The last number I saw for FEMA contribution from Puerto Rico was $3.5 billion a year. And I'm not sure if it was 3.5 billion or 35 billion because the person, the place where I got the information, I don't know how they're doing the numbers, but it's somewhere between 3 and 35 billion. Not million, billion. I'm thinking 3.5 billion. Now, Puerto Rico has not had an emergency since a few years ago. The last big one that FEMA got involved with that I remember was 18 years ago. So 18 years times 3.5, you do the math. I think we've contributed enough money to be covered in case of an emergency. I don't even want to think about what the U.S. Virgin Islands are going through. I honestly don't. Because if we're not getting any help, they're definitely not getting any more help than we are. Because it's harder to get the aid they need, even though they're smaller islands. Now, you can put your head in the sand. You can contribute everything you want. What I'm begging you to do is call your congressman, email them, text them, post a message on Twitter or Facebook, however you want to communicate with them. Let them know that you support Puerto Ricans as American citizens that they are and that they need water. They need drinking water, they need medication, and they need electricity. The problem in Puerto Rico is that the electric grid is failing. And it really doesn't matter if a million politicians stole money or if one person stole money. Really, that doesn't matter right now. What matters is people are dying. So please contribute. The other thing that I saw in the news today regarding Puerto Rico was that apparently some guy that was training to be a minister decided to steal 4 generators for himself. I've heard stories about all kinds of thievery, including the United States Postal Service not being very careful with the boxes, and then they break. And I can't tell you if it's the neighbor, or if it's the postal service worker, or if who the hell is doing it, but somebody's opening the boxes and stealing stuff from the boxes. I don't care who is stealing. What I want you to know is that there's a special place in hell for you. Because I cannot believe that in the emergency that we are right now, you're such a piece of crap that you're stealing stuff that people need to survive. If you need help, go and ask for it. Don't steal it. And if you are stealing it to sell it, you don't go to hell. You're beyond hell. You're sitting next to the devil himself. You should not do that. For all the people that have helped, because I know there's more good American citizens that there are bad, I want to thank you personally. I don't live in Puerto Rico anymore. I have no intention of ever living in Puerto Rico anymore. But I do have friends and family that live there, some of which have had to get on a plane and come to the United States because they have lost everything. They have come here with maybe $10 in their pockets and the clothes on their backs, and that's it. I want to thank you people for donating food, donating water, donating money. And I'm going to ask you, and I realize that you've donated to so many causes. We've had so many emergencies this year. But just $1. If every single person in the United States donates $1, we will have so much more help available for the people in my island. And I realize this is not the usual rant. I've been pretty peaceful, probably because it's 10 p.m. at night and I'm already late with the videos. But please, help out. Help us as much as you can, because we do need the help. Thank you for watching and have a good night.